We should be live. We'll wait for some people to get in here. I have been having the hardest time with these live streams lately. They seem to work just fine on my phone, but doing them on the laptop, for some reason, it just doesn't want to do it for me. All right. There we go. Starting to get some people in here finally. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I could not get, I can never get the live stream to work on my laptop for some reason. I always have to stream from my phone, which makes it kind of weird doing the titles and whatnot and all that good stuff. It's just, and the angle, it's vertical. So it's just different stuff I'm trying to figure out on the actual live stream side of things, but we'll get the title in there. What's going on, Alec? Hope you're doing well, brother. TJ, what's up, TJ? JM, business is good, JM. Business is good, man. I can't complain. We're getting busier and busier. People are learning more about us each and every week, and can't complain. We ended up making some progress on the Smoke Shack this week, so that's good. It's looking like we're supposed to be getting some rain over the next couple of days. It wasn't supposed to. It wasn't supposed to rain all week. It was supposed to be pretty clear up until Saturday. But right now it's looking like it keeps, for the last couple of days, it's been sprinkling on and off and like very, very cloudy, looking like it wants to rain. Like it's extremely cloudy outside right now. But it isn't coming down, which is good because it's hard to get stuff done in the rain on that Smoke Shack. But hopefully we got some walls up on it by the end of the weekend. Alec, I don't have the 250 yet. I'm expecting it probably middle to end of May is when I'm expecting the 250 to be completed and delivered. And I can't wait, man. I'm super excited. I've never cooked on a pit that big before. I've always just used backyard pits, so it's going to be a big change and hopefully much better product. I'm pretty happy with the product I'm putting out right now, so I can only imagine how much better it's going to be once I get that 250 in. The shed is going to be, like I said, it's coming along. The rain, hopefully we don't get any rain the rest of the week, at least until the weekend. That way we can make some big progress, get the walls and the roof up on this thing and get it going. What's up, your average logical thinker? Good to see you. I'm glad you hopped on the live. What you got going on? Tell us what you got going on. I haven't heard from you in a minute. I've been a little MIA, but not too much. Emotions, Deirdre, what's up, liberal? I'm not a liberal, man. I'm not a liberal. We're not going to turn this stream political, but I'm probably the opposite of a liberal, my friend. I'm definitely the same way with you. I ordered mine, should get it within about 3 months, and it's on from there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Once I get that pit, I'll be able to cook a lot more meat and do a lot bigger caterings and events and things like that. And it should level up the quality of the food dramatically. So I'm excited for that. And the shack, to be honest. I'm tired of cooking out in the elements, man. It's muddy, it's rainy, all that good stuff. That's for the birds. That's not cool. Your average logical thinker, been chilling, getting ready for spring break. Okay, we've had a lot of spring break for the schools around here already happening. Done. They're done. They're done around here. Emotion, stop smoking cigars. Sorry, can't do it. I love these things. This is a Perdomo Champagne 10th anniversary. It's a nice light cigar. You can pretty much smoke this cigar any time of the day. You can have it with your coffee in the morning. That's how light it is. Bigger smoker means quicker or slower cook time. So I've kind of asked around about that, and I was told it was longer cook times. The bigger the smoker, the longer the cook times. And the reason I was given is because the smoker has to move more air, and given that, it's going to be a little bit longer cook times. But since it's moving more air and it's much more of a indirect cooking rather than a smaller pit, that like the pits I have right now, yes, it's an offset. Yes, it's technically indirect, but the firebox is so close. The fire is so close to the actual cooking grates that if you are butted up really anywhere on the smoker, but if you're pretty close to the firebox on the smoker, you're pretty much cooking direct heat almost. And so with the bigger offset, the firebox is much further down than where you would put your briskets. And so it truly is a kind of a convection indirect cooking. And so with that being said, you're not getting the heat from the indirect, or I'm sorry, the direct cooking. There's a lot more air. And so anyway, that's what I was told. We'll see how much longer of a cook time it's going to be, but the quality should be much better. Quality should be much better. JM, think he was referring to sweatshirt and was being sarcastic. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought too. But I'm in Texas, man. It is what it is. It's a different lifestyle around here. It's a different lifestyle. They are bad for you. Emotions, you're not my mother. Cut it out. All right? Cut it out. Alec, you're absolutely correct. Okay, cool. So there you go. So yeah, a little bit longer cook times because you're moving a little bit more air or a lot of bit more air out. But at the same time, the bigger smokers have much bigger smoke stacks, much taller smoke stacks. And so the draw from it should be a lot better than what I'm getting now. I saw a reel of deep fried rib tip dipped in guacamole. I thought about you in Texas. Yeah. Yep, that's how they do it around here. They fry everything. You go to the rodeo here in Houston. They have fried Oreos, fried cheesecake, fried Reese's. It's crazy. Favorite kind of steak? I like a good ribeye. I like a good ribeye steak. I like a good New York strip, filet. I like it all, man. I like all steaks. Definitely, I am too, from San Antonio, 18 years until military came in, and now I'm in Virginia. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's a different lifestyle down here in Texas, man. It's a better life, I think. Trix, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Well, I'm going to be answering some questions that people put. I made a post either yesterday or the day before, and people had some questions. So hopefully people who had some questions are actually on the live. But I'm going to start answering some of these questions that I have here. So the first question I got is, how much did it cost you for your first pop-up, and what's your business structure? So I'll start with the second question because it's a little bit easier. I have an LLC now that I have moved into a brick and mortar space, and I'm getting that ready. I decided, jumping into the brick and mortar, I need to go ahead and get an LLC, get business insurance. That way all my stuff is protected and all that good stuff, as well as kind of having an extra layer of protection legally. Having a brick and mortar, you're putting on a lot more liability to yourself than you would be if you're just doing pop-ups, you're just doing kind of caterings, you're just doing friends, family, maybe different small companies, things like that. I'd still encourage you to get business insurance and food liability insurance. But as far as setting up an LLC, if you're just doing pop-ups, I think it's a waste of time, money, and it's a huge headache. You have to file your taxes quarterly. You have to report to the state. You have to do a lot of stuff when you have an LLC that people don't talk about. They just talk about the sexy part of it. And to be honest with you, 90% of the write-offs that you can do with an LLC, you can do with just a DBA or just filing as a 1099. So it really doesn't make sense to even get an LLC for your pop-up business. But when you start getting into a restaurant, stuff like that, maybe even a food truck, if you're taking it really seriously and you're getting a food truck, I'd start an LLC. But if you're just doing pop-ups right now, don't even worry about it. As far as cost for my first pop-up, I would say it was probably, it depends on what you're talking about, right? Let's talk about, what's up, Pedro? How you doing, brother? Oh, look at that. Your average logical thinker. Thank you so much for the super chat. She says, so proud of you, Kirby. Very inspirational for all Entrepreneurs can't wait to visit the barbecue spot. I can't wait to have you. I can't wait to have you. Come get you some brisket, ribs, turkey, sausage. I might have you end up moving out here after you have a good meal. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, y'all. Alex said, I missed the cowboy breakfast. Oh, yeah, cowboy breakfast. That's right. We do it big over here. But as far as costs on first pop up, it's going to depend on what you already have, right? So I'd probably say I spent maybe $1,500 to $2,000 for my first pop up, but that's because I had to buy the smoker, I had to buy tables, I had to buy bus tubs, I had to buy all the cleaning solutions, you know, the food product, a couple $100 in food, so on and so forth. So you know, probably close 1,500 to 2,000. I think you could get it done cheaper than that if you already have some of those things. So if you already have folding tables, if you already have your smoker, if you already have some of this stuff, then you can get it done a lot cheaper. But I didn't have anything, so that's what it was. But the thing is, a lot of that stuff that you're buying up front, you're going to be able to use every single weekend. So typically on a week-to-week basis, the only thing you're going to have to really buy is your food, cleaning materials, stuff like that, papers and plastics, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. Pedro, what's up, buddy? I'm going to answer your question right now. You said, what's your smoking strategy and fire management? So that's going to depend entirely on what I'm cooking, what I'm smoking. So, as an example, with briskets, you really want to take your time with them, because with brisket, you know, you're looking for a couple things before the brisket's done. First of all, you want to make sure that it's at the proper temperature. So what you're looking for is about 203 degrees is what I like to look at. You're looking at, if it's probe tender, if you take a thermometer probe and you stick it into that brisket in the point, the middle, and the flat, and it just goes through like butter, okay? If there's any resistance at all, you may need a little bit more time. So 203, probe tender, and then I pick up the brisket and I see if it has that jiggle. If it's still stiff and it doesn't have that jiggle, then it's not done. And so those are the three things that I check for when I'm smoking the brisket. So typically, your brisket's going to be done between 9 and 12 hours. I know some people cook it longer, and either they're overcooking it, they don't have enough heat on it, they're not cooking at the proper temperature, or they started it really, really low, and it just hasn't caught up yet. But a brisket, in my opinion, should be cooked between 9 and 12 hours. If you're cooking it any faster than that, it's not enough time, because I know some people like to do a hot and fast cook, but if you're cooking it in anything less than 9 to 12 hours, you're not giving all the fat in the brisket enough time to render and process. Because if that fat's, you can tell if the fat's been rendered properly, because when you slice into it, if the fat is still white, then it hasn't been on the smoker long enough. It hasn't rendered properly. If you're getting that gold yellow fat when you slice into the brisket, that's a fully rendered fat cap. That's fully rendered fat. That's the stuff that just melts in your mouth that you like. You know, I actually, I'll tell you this, I'm pretty good with it now, but even last weekend, I had one brisket that was super stubborn, and I pulled it off a little bit too early. When I sliced into it the next day, it had more of that white fat than it should have had. And I knew right away, man, it needed more time. It probably needed another hour or so. But you're looking for that brown, yellowish fat. If you get that fat, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not expired. You did the right thing. That means you gave the brisket enough time to get that fat rendered. What's up, Mark? God bless you, brother. Uncle T's, what's up? JM, what temp for brisket? 203. 203 is the way to go, my friend. 203 is what you want internally. As far as cooking the brisket goes, what I do is I start the brisket out, because what I'll do is I'll start the fire, right? And then I'll go inside. The brisket's already been trimmed the day before, and I will go ahead and season it. And when I'm done seasoning the briskets, I'm going to cook for the day. All the proteins I'm going to cook for the day. It's usually about 15, 20 minutes after I've started the fire. Then the brisket goes on the smoker. The smoker's still relatively at a low temp. typically when it goes on, the smoker's at about 200 degrees. And it may stay between 200 and 225 for the first hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. And so I like doing that first because what that does, it allows that brisket that just came out of the refrigerator maybe 30 minutes ago to warm up to room temperature on that smoker. And then it's at room temperature after about an hour, 2 hours at 200. And then it goes from room temperature to increasing rapidly when I pump that thing out to 275. I want that smoker running at 275 degrees for the remainder of the cook. Now, sometimes I'll just bump it up to 250 for a couple hours, and then I'll look at it, and then I'll bump it up to 275. But the ultimate goal is to get to 275 at some point, okay? I think it's made a big difference between if you just put it on the smoker and the smoker's already at 275, I think it cooks a little too fast, in my opinion. I think that brisket kind of seizes up and it's too tense. Whereas if you ease into it, it just turns into a much better product. As far as fire management goes, I think fire management, you just gotta be checking it. Every 45 minutes you gotta be checking, making sure you breaking down your coals, making sure you're adding another log when you need to add another log, making sure it's got enough airflow. And if your smoker's too hot, then you got to cut off some of that airflow, right? Close it down just a little bit to bring that temperature back down. So, I don't think fire management takes some time to learn, but I don't think it's anything crazy. I think people want to make it a science. I don't really know if it's a science. I just think, you got to manipulate the fire, right? Fires need oxygen to grow. So if your smoker is cooking too low of a temp, you need to give it more oxygen. You need to open up the smokestack, open up the firebox door all the way. And if it's too hot, then maybe you need to crack that fire door. Maybe you need to close that smokestack a little bit and bring that temperature down. So hopefully that answers your question, Pedro. Mark said, I cooked an 18-hour brisket. Yeah, I don't have the patience for that, man. In 18 hours, that means you would have had to been cooking it, 225 the whole time? 225 the whole time is what I would assume on 18 hours. Because at the temperatures I cook my brisket, like I said, the goal is to get to 275. They'd be way overcooked at 18 hours. LOL, stubborn brisket is right. Yeah, some of them just get on my nerves, man. Mark said, respect my brother. I'm doing some plate sales. Okay, there you go. I'd encourage you, Mark, you're going to do your own thing, man, but I'd encourage you to try to get that cook time down to 12 hours. I think 18 hours is a little crazy if you're getting a good trim on your brisket. Now, I don't know how much you're trimming off. If you're just throwing it on whole, then yeah, it probably does take 18 hours. But I trim pretty aggressively, and I can get them done between 9 and 12 hours. Brian, thanks for answering my questions. Yeah, man, no problem. I'm glad you were in here for that. Fat Man Barbecue asked a question as well. I don't know if he's in here or not. If you are Fat Man Barbecue, let us know. But his question was barbecue menu. Go over the barbecue menu for meats, sides, and desserts. So your meats, I think you need to have the basics. And what I think are the basics, at least here in Texas, is going to be brisket, ribs, turkey, and sausage. At the beginning, you're probably not going to be making your own sausage, which is fine, which is fine. For the first couple pop-ups I didn't make my own sausage. I bought it. And then as I started getting more experience, more comfortable, so on and so forth, I decided to start making my own sausage. Definitely, if you're going to open a restaurant, you got to make your own sausage. You can't be using prepackaged sausages, in my opinion. And then from there, once you have your brisket, ribs, sausage, and turkey, then you can kind of go wild if you want to do more than that. If you want to do chicken legs, if you want to do chicken quarters, if you want to do pork belly, burnt ends, if you want to do stuff like that, you could definitely add that stuff. But, the big three they call the Texas Trinity is brisket, ribs, and sausage. So if you have those three, you're golden. Turkey's a plus, but not necessary. Okay, now on sides, you want to have sides that have a little bit of acidity. So sides like coleslaw are great. Beans, everybody likes beans with barbecue. You have to decide what you're going to do. If you're going to do a pinto bean, if you're going to do like some type of ranch beans, if you're going to do baked beans, you got to figure out what you're going to do there. I always like to do mac and cheese, really for one reason, is for the kids, because kids love mac and cheese. So if people are going to go to your restaurant, maybe, some kids are weird, some kids don't eat meat and stuff like that. At least you have something they could eat, being mac and cheese. Other sides, you can get creative with a lot of different sides. You just do some research, see what other people are doing, see what you think you would like to do, and go wild. It's good to have at least one creative side. Because pretty much everyone does slaw, pretty much everyone does some sort of beans. Some places do potato salad, some people don't. But if you can get and do some other creative things, like elote casserole is big right now, you can do that. So be creative. Always have pickles, onions, jalapenos on hand for people, because they're going to want that stuff. And desserts, you can pretty much do whatever you want for desserts and barbecue. Pies are a big thing. Cobblers are a big thing. You can do cookies. You can pretty much do whatever you want there. Let's see. What are people saying? Work that definitely is true. Randy's weight journey, new subscriber, just wanted to drop in to say, hey, I just followed you on Instagram. Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Mark, that leftover tallow from a trim goes a long way. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I definitely use tallow in all of my briskets for sure. That's 100% fact. Adrenaline Turkey Call. He's usually on these lives. I don't know if he's live in here. I haven't seen him pop in. But his question was side dishes that other people do that are profitable, that don't take hours for prepping large quantities, not talking about serving friends, but selling to the public. Coleslaw, beans, like we talked about, mac and cheese. Some people do green beans. I'm not really I do have a good barbecue green bean recipe, but not really a huge fan of doing green beans with barbecue, but some people do that. Those are super easy. When I do big caterings, green beans is one of the sides that I do. And I don't get fancy, man. I saute them in butter, salt and pepper, garlic, and they're good to go. That's something you can cook really easy that are super profitable. Especially if you're doing like boxes to go or plates that are already done up, because people get what they get, right? In that case. My bad. I'm retarded. I know you do turkey. No, you're good. You're good. And then the last question I got, guys, and I want you guys to put questions you have in the chat. I'll be more than willing to answer those questions that you guys have. But the last question I got was from Raul. He said, when you cater, do you have a set menu price? I'm being asked about catering, and I was going to put a menu for 2 meats and another for 3 meats, etc. But I'm also figuring out that I want to tell them that it needs to be a minimum of 20 people. Make it worth my time. Let me know what your thoughts. So right now, my catering minimum is 25 people, and I'm actually considering raising it to 50 people. Is what I'm considering doing, just to make it worth my time. I think people, if it's an order for 25 people, I think it's more than reasonable for them to come pick up that order rather than me going out to them. So for caterings, I think I would set my minimum at 50 people. Right now it's at 25. I think I'm going to raise it to 50. Now, as far as pricing goes, I never put my catering prices on my website or social media or anything like that, because every catering is going to be completely different. Every catering is going to be different. Some people are going to just want you to drop off the food. Some people are going to want you to stay there and serve. Some people are going to want 2 sides versus 3 sides. Some people are going to be just fine with sandwiches, chips, and a drink, where others want a full plate with 2 or 3 meats, like you mentioned. So every catering is so different that you need to really not have set price on your catering. You need to price it by individual situations. So what I do is I will talk to the person and see exactly what they're looking for. So I'll say, hey Mark, what are you looking for? Then they say, do you do catering? Yes, I do. Okay, well Mark, what are you looking for? How many people are you serving? Are you thinking about just doing kind of like sandwiches, like a boxed lunch, sandwiches, chips, and a drink? Um, are you thinking about doing plates where you have a couple different meat options, a couple different side options? What exactly are you looking for, Mark? And then Mark will tell me, and then from there I can kind of figure out a price. And always price it per person. Always price it per person, and do not make extra food. I know it sounds like a nice thing to do for the people, but they're paying for what they're paying for. You don't want to run out of food in a catering. You want to make sure you have just enough or maybe a little bit over, but I always price per catering. So if somebody tells me, yeah, I just want to do like a box lunch thing, we'll do a chopped brisket sandwich, chips, and a drink, and you got to give them suggestions. Then, maybe you do that for 12 bucks or 15 bucks a person. And you can kind of tell what their budget's looking like. And you can even ask, hey, what's your budget for this? If Mark says, yeah, I'm trying to feed 50 people, okay, great. Now, Mark, kind of what is your budget for this? And then he'll tell you, or you guys talk through it. And you can tell him, okay, well, hey, look, Mark, we could do chopped brisket sandwich, chips, and a drink. I'll even throw a cookie in there for $15 a person. How does that sound? Okay, and then you say, my other option is I can do a 2-meat plate. We'll do brisket and ribs with mac and cheese and green beans, and that's going to be $18 a plate. Which one would you prefer? And then you give them those options. You give them those choices. But never just if someone's like, well, what do you charge for a catering? Don't blanket be like, oh yeah, we charge 15 bucks a person, because then you say that and then they're going to want all this extra stuff and wonder why you've raised your price. Hi from Turkey. It's 3:50 a.m. I don't know anything about this channel. This is the first time I'm watching you and I like it. All right, Victoria. Nice to have you on the channel. Nice to have you on the channel. I hope Turkey is having a lovely early morning. Yeah, we talk about barbecue here. We talk about barbecue. I'm opening a barbecue restaurant here in Texas, and we talk about everything barbecue. Thank you for tuning in, Victoria. Pedro asks, have you heard of a catering certification or license? No, I have not. No, I have that not. I don't think we have that here in Texas. As long as you have your food handler's license, you're prepping your food in a commercial kitchen, and you're doing everything food safe, then you're pretty much good. I haven't really heard of a catering certification or license. And I think it's because my background is in brick and mortar restaurants. And so with that being said, we didn't have a specific license specifically for catering. We ran our restaurant and then we got catering orders. So no, I don't know anything about that. Alec, what about merch? Looking to do that now or wait a couple months to a year? I'm actually asking this for a reason, because I'm at the point that you are. Alec, I think merch at the level that I'm at, and you can kind of gauge this based on where you're at, I think merch at this point is a waste of time and money for me, because I'm a nobody in the barbecue world right now. It is what it is. I could be honest with myself. There's way bigger restaurants, there's way bigger channels, there's way bigger pop-up concepts than mine at the moment. And, I don't think they can sell merch right now, because until you get a big following, until you get a lot of customers who are big raving fans, and that could take years, to be honest, no one's going to be interested in buying your merchandise. And so for me, it just seems kind of like a waste of time. Maybe when you start getting really, really busy, very, very popular, you start getting articles written about you, you start going on different TV shows, you start popping up on several people's channels on YouTube, you start building a real following, then you can start selling merch, I think. And if a lot of people are asking for it and saying, hey, I will buy that, then, and I don't mean like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, because I'm talking about a lot of people want your merch. Then I would suggest starting to sell it. But right now at this point, just focus on what you're doing cooking wise, marketing wise, building your brand. Because if you build your brand up big enough, whenever you launch that merch, it's going to do really well. There's nothing worse than having dead inventory sitting on the shelves, and merchandise for a small company is just dead merchandise. It's kind of like when you have the small local plumbing company and they start, selling merch. It's like, I don't want to wear my plumbing company's hat. Like, that doesn't make any sense, So that's the way I see it. Victoria said, congratulations. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate that. Yeah, everything's going well so far. We're building up the channel, building a really good community here of people, like-minded people who are doing barbecue in whatever facet, whether it's the backyard, whether it's doing pop-ups, food trucks, restaurants. So we're building a pretty good community, and it's going really well so far. 2B Barbecue. Where do you get food handler's license? Google. Just go to Google and type in food handler's license followed by the state that you're in. And there'll be tons of different places, tons of different websites you can get your food handler's license. Several of them. They're not that expensive. I just typed in Texas food license, and what came up was 360 Training. I've used them before. Who else? You've got Food Handler Card Online. That's a cheap one. There's a bunch of websites that can give you that. And basically, it's an online course that you take. It's an online course that you take, so you have to sit through videos, and then you answer questions, and you do an exam, and then you can get it. It's not that hard. If you logged in your computer at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can knock it out by probably 1, 2 in the afternoon. It's a couple-hour course. It's nothing crazy. Pedro, I wondered on the merch thing too. I agree with you. I just don't think the ROI is worth it too early in the game. Yeah, it's not. It's not. And honestly, even later in the game, I mean, merch isn't going to be your biggest seller. It's just kind of an add-on, an additional option, an additional thing you can make money on. Like Franklin has a bunch of merch, right? It sells because people from all around the world go there. It's not just a barbecue restaurant. It is an attraction. It's an experience. And so it's just like if you take your family to Disney World, chances are you're probably going to buy a hoodie, a t-shirt, a hat, something that says Disney World on it, because you want something to remember the experience of it, right? And so until your restaurant, until your pop-up, until your concept becomes an experience for people, then they're probably not going to buy your merch. Mark said, did a plate sell, smoked chicken leg, quarter rice, charro beans, pork rib, 2 breads, barbecue sauce, and a drink for 48 people. Good profit for being off. Just a side gig that I will get better. Oh yeah. That's a good plate there. I wonder, how much did you charge for that plate, Mark? I think we'd all like to know that. Because it seems like a good amount of food. And where are you at in the country, Mark? Because that's going to depend. That's going to be interesting too, because I don't see no brisket on that plate. And around where I'm at, if there ain't brisket on that plate, people ain't buying it. When we run out of brisket, people ain't buying nothing, man. Alex said, that's what's up. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. I appreciate that about everything you're saying and the merchandise. Yeah, you got it. I don't want you to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on t-shirts and nobody buy it and you're wondering why, 2B Barbecue says, thank you. Mark said 15. Okay. All right. I see you, San Antonio. Yeah. And San Antonio is a different market. Every market's going to be a little bit different. I wonder if the gentleman, the owner of Spacecraft Barbecue in Baytown, Pasadena area, I believe. Spacecraft Barbecue, he was in here last week. Space City, I'm sorry. I'm messing up the name. Space City Barbecue in Baytown. He was in the chat on the live stream last week, and I saw today on Instagram, if you follow Barbecue Snob, BBQ SNOB, that's Daniel Vaughn's Instagram. He's the editor for the Texas Monthly Barbecue Edition. Saw he posted a picture today of a plate from Space City Barbecue. So I wonder if he was there today or if he had the picture, he visited there. Um, I know he's been there before, but he posted a picture of a plate there today. So I don't know if he was there today or not, but that was pretty cool because he was in our chat like last week. So that's pretty awesome. If you get him to go to your restaurant, that is a really big opportunity because you make that Texas Monthly list and your business is going to explode. So that was pretty cool to see that. But yeah, people around here, they love their brisket, man. If I could only sell one meat, it would be brisket. It would be brisket. Is there a lot of good? I know there's a couple good barbecue places in San Antonio. What's your favorite barbecue place in San Antonio, Mark? But yeah, like I said, I don't know if Space City Barbecue is in here tonight or not, but I want to know what the story is there, man. I want to know what's going on. But kind of to give you guys a recap, an update on where we're at. We're trying to finish up the smoke shack in the next couple weeks. And then we will get the final inspection from the fire marshal, final inspection from the health department, and then we will pretty much be open. I'm targeting the third weekend in May for our kind of official grand opening. We may actually be able to start serving for dine-in sooner than that, possibly. But the official, like, big grand opening, I think we're going to do the third weekend of May. I think I'm going to stamp that in and start doing some marketing for it. We should be able to get everything squared away by then. We're in the first week of April. So that's all of April, 3 weeks of May. So that's really about 7 weeks. I think we can get everything done in 7 weeks. Mr. Hernandez, what's happening, brother? Dude, you're an inspiration. I'm getting lots of insight from your journey as I start my own. Hope to visit your spot real soon. All right, man. I appreciate you hopping in the live and saying hello. Yeah, I'd love to have you down here. Love to have you. We're in New Caney, Texas. It is a suburb. It's outside of Houston. And yeah, we love all. Right now, we're serving at the location. You guys can look us up on Google Maps, Apple Maps, our website, all that good stuff, kirbysbarbecue.com. We're out there selling Friday, Saturday, and Sunday under a tent right in front of where the restaurant's going to be as we're doing the renovations and getting it ready for dine-in. But yeah, we're serving it up. Brisket, ribs, turkey, sausage, baked beans, coleslaw, all that good stuff. Mike said, thinking seriously of starting a barbecue truck here in Southwest Oklahoma. I'm shopping for trailers. Do you think fryers are a necessary evil? I don't. I don't think fryers are a necessary evil. I've got a brick and mortar and I don't have any fryers. I don't plan on getting any fryers. I don't want to do fried foods. I dealt with fried foods for a long time in my previous restaurant life, and just dealing with all the oil and the grease and all that and having to dump it and all that stuff, it's just a headache. And I don't think you really need to do it for barbecue. Now, a food truck's a little bit different because typically the food profile in a food truck is a little bit different. Usually it's more, it can be a lot more snackier foods, more fair foods, more appetizers, stuff like that. So that's where the fryers come in handy because, you can do brisket fries, you can do brisket nachos, you can do all kinds of different stuff with the fryers. But if you don't want to do it, if you want to run it kind of more traditional, like Franklin Barbecue, they don't use any fryers. They don't have any fryers. But if you go to one of these big box stores, like a Spring Creek Barbecue's big around here, they've got a lot of locations. You know, they got fryers because they got fried okra, French fries, all that good stuff. But it's up to you, man. If you're doing barbecue, I don't think you need it. But with the food truck, you have the option to do it. It's up to you. You can always add that later if you wanted to. But it sounds like you're already dreading it. So if you're already dreading it, then just don't do it. Just don't do it. Back in the day, used to be Bill Miller's get that gallon of sweet tea. LOL. There you go. Yeah, I just bought some tea urns today. So we're gonna be serving sweet tea and unsweet tea um, here, you know, moving forward, which I'm excited about because we were just doing water bottles and Coca-Cola cans. So now we'll have sweet and unsweet tea, and I'm even thinking about once we get open, doing free beer as well. So that'll be something. I don't really want to deal with the licensing. It's expensive. Let's see, how much is it to get a beer license in Texas? Let's see. I think it's a couple $1,000s, honestly. Let me see if I can find it here, guys. Bear with me. But I don't really want to deal with that, to be honest. I don't know. I can't find it. But if you give it away for free, then I think you're good in Texas. They have a law that allows you to do that. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Just kind of be another thing that draws people in. Victor, wood expense is getting crazy. Just got a load of post oak and it was running $450 in the Houston area. The problem is also the inconsistency in quality or sorting on the cord. So Victor, I'm in the Houston area, okay, and I don't know exactly what a load of post oak. I don't know how much that is, you know, if that's a whole cord or whatever it is. But I usually order half a cord, and I get that sounds $450 sounds about right. Yeah, because I order half a cord, and it's $240, but that's delivered and stacked. So for $240, I get half a cord delivered and stacked, and I'm gonna put this up right here for you to see. Hopefully that's not backwards, but it is just says firewood for sale. I guess it's Martinez Stump Grinding. Yeah, here you go. Martinez Stump Grinding. They sell firewood. And they deliver in Houston, surrounding areas. Phone number 713-887-6546. 713-887-6546. I feel like a commercial. But I get my post oak from them. And so far, everything that they've given me has been very consistent. It's been very consistent, size-wise, and it's smoked very well. So there you go. There's a recommendation. Reese Brothers barbecue is pretty good. Even if you grow, you can spread to San Antonio. Yeah. Even if you grow, you can spread to San Antonio. Yeah, man. I've heard good things about them. I've seen some content on Reese Brothers on YouTube, but I haven't made it out there. Brisket Daddy Barbecue, what's up? Member of the channel. Member of the channel. If you're not a member of the channel, what are you doing? Tons of benefits of being a member of the channel. To getting to watch the videos early, to getting advice on your own concept one-on-one, to getting a free pound of brisket when you visit the restaurant. There's lots of perks to join the channel. I'm trying to do good by my channel members. Hopefully I am doing all right. But if you're someone who's getting your concept started and you're wanting kind of one-on-one mentorship to where you can reach out to me, talk to me on the phone, things like that, Brisket Daddy Barbecue, he's a member on that tier. It's a $50 tier that he's on. There's several ones. You can just throw $2.99 and kind of get access to the videos. Every tier has different benefits, but you know, at the $50 a month tier, you get pretty much unlimited access to reaching out to me via text or phone, and we can talk about your concept, your business plan, your licensing, your food distributors, the wood you're getting, everything, top to bottom. I can help you out, give you advice on what you're doing. I think it's been helpful for Brisket Daddy Barbecue. I'm sure I'll say something in here about it, but yeah, join the channel if you're not. If you don't want to join something on an ongoing basis, just leave a super chat. We always appreciate that to support the channel. Your average logical thinker started us off tonight with a $10 super chat. I appreciate that. But yeah, Mark, God bless, brother. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's a lot of barbecue places there, guys, that I still need to go check out. It's just, it's hard to find the time. A lot of these places are only open on the weekends, and that's when I am opening up my concept. So it just doesn't make sense for me to step away. So I like to get to the barbecue places I can go to on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. My new BFF. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I like to get to the barbecue place I can go check out on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when I'm kind of laying low a little bit and I'm not working the restaurant. One place I did get to go to was Bar A Barbecue in Montgomery. They're not too far from me, about an hour, and that was a good experience. Mike said, thanks for the feedback. This is good stuff for a guy trying to learn how to start. That's why I started the channel. Like I tell everybody, you're not going to, until you, like, unless you like blow up on YouTube, you're not going to make a bunch of money on YouTube. I think since I got monetized beginning of March, and I've made, I think, $250 since then. And that's including memberships, that's including super chats, things like that. So I didn't start the YouTube channel for money. You shouldn't start a YouTube channel for money because you're not going to make a bunch of it. I started the YouTube channel as a branding and marketing opportunity for Kirby's Barbecue, as well as to help you guys out with your concepts, because when I was starting to do this, I didn't see anybody giving like real raw information. I saw a lot of people doing recipes. I saw a lot of people teaching you how to use your smoker, things like that, which is helpful, but none of them were selling barbecue really. Majority of them were just the majority of them were for YouTubers. You know, there's a difference between a barbecue YouTuber, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a difference between a barbecue YouTuber and then a barbecue person, a pitmaster who does YouTube. And I'm the latter. You know, I'm a barbecue guy who does YouTube. I'm not a YouTuber who does barbecue. How often do you do chicken? Never. Alec, never. I never do chicken. You know, no, I did do chicken wings for Super Bowl. Super Bowl weekend, I did do chicken wings. So I wanted to capitalize. I did chicken wings and brisket nachos along with everything else we do on a regular basis. So I want to capitalize on Super Bowl sales. So I did chicken wings there. But that's the only time I've done chicken. It's not super popular around here. And there's actually a chicken place on the corner of where my restaurant is. I can't remember. I think it's called like Super Pollo something or another. So, you know, people want chicken, they go there. Pedro said right on, well said. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's barbecue people who do YouTube and YouTube people who do barbecue. Not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. But to kind of elaborate on your question, Alec, about the chicken, it depends on your market. Like people in I say this all the time, people in the Carolinas, people on the East Coast, their barbecue is centered around pork. So they want to make sure pulled pork is their biggest selling item. Whereas here in Texas, you know, we have a lot of cows, man. It's about beef here in Texas. So you have to cater to your audience. You know, in certain areas of the country, certain demographics, they may look more towards buying the chicken. But man, every time, even the Super Bowl weekend when I was doing chicken wings, I didn't sell a lot of chicken wings. Just so you know, I didn't sell a lot of chicken. And so I'm just not going to waste it because I know the people around here, they're not coming for the chicken. People around here, they like the brisket, you know. They eat the ribs and the sausage. Rib sausage do well. Turkey sales are picking up. I'll tell you that. Turkey sales are picking up because what we did was we started giving away samples of turkey. Because here's the thing, I was always making turkey. But the first couple pop-ups, nobody was eating it. Nobody was buying it. So it was pretty much just me and my family eating it. And I was like, man, this turkey is amazing. I think it's the best turkey in the state of Texas, to be honest with you. But nobody's buying it. And so what we started doing was we started sampling the turkey out to people. Every customer that came up, we gave them, a sample of our turkey. And we've done that for several months now. And now, finally, people are starting to order half a pound of turkey, adding it to their order. People are starting to order a pound of turkey or a turkey sandwich. And so, whereas at the beginning we were throwing turkey away, now we're selling out of it just like everything else. So you got to figure out your area. If there's something you really, really want to sell, start sampling it out. If it's really good, start sampling it out, and eventually people will start to buy it. Brisket Daddy Barbecue, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. He said, let's go. Let's go. If you guys are not following Brisket Daddy Barbecue, he is in California. Go follow him on Instagram at Brisket Daddy Barbecue. He does videography as well. He's got some really dope videos on his pop-ups. And he's making some moves, buying some new smokers, doing some cool stuff, even possibly thinking about flying out for my grand opening and helping me out and getting this thing off the ground. So shout out to you, Greg. I appreciate all the help. Man, you guys need to go follow Brisket Daddy Barbecue for real. Did you say your restaurant will be in New Caney? Yep, it's in New Caney. And we already have the location. We're finishing building it out. We run pop-ups there in front of the restaurant location, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 11 to sell out. Come check us out. TJ asked, where are you getting your chicken breast from? And how much does it cost in your area? I'm getting my my turkey breast from Gordon. I get all of my food products from Gordon Food Service. And I'm going to tell you right now how much it is. Give me a second. I'm going to log in here. So the turkey breast that I get weigh about 4.25 pounds. So about 4.25 pounds. Where's the turkey? Turkey. And I'm paying $3.99 a pound. So the cases I get, they're 4.25 pounds of turkey, and there's 4 in a case at $3.99 a pound. So it costs me $76 a case. So you take that 76 divided by 4, you end up getting what, like 20? What is that? $20 a turkey, a little bit less than that. And I'm selling my turkey at $28 a pound. So it's profitable. If you can sell it, it's profitable. If you're throwing it in the trash, obviously no. But if you can sell your turkey, it's very profitable. I'd like to see more turkey smoking. Don't see much of this now that you're talking about it. Yeah, I think, I think all the big dogs, they do smoke turkey, at least here in Texas. But it's not usually something that people are bragging about. Like, when I went to Franklin, everything was fantastic. But my turkey's better than Franklin's turkey, just being honest. How far is New Caney from Fredericksburg? Far, brother. Far. Let me tell you, distance. It's a couple hours. I think like 4 hours from New Caney to Fredericksburg. I went to Fredericksburg, so it is 4 hours. Yep, I was right. 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours from Fredericksburg, man. But well worth the trip. TJ, are you thinking the weekend of the 16th in May for your grand opening? I am thinking of not the 16th. It would be the following weekend. It would be let's see. I'm thinking I guess the 18th would be the 3rd. What did I write down? The 23rd. Where did I put that? Oh, that's April. I'm sorry. We need to look at May. I'm so discombobulated here, guys. Give me a second. May. I'm thinking May 23rd through the 25th. May 23rd through the 25th is what I'm thinking for grand opening. I think that gives me plenty of time to get all the regulatory stuff taken care of. So yeah, May 23rd through 25th. Alec, got you. Thank you for your honesty about the chicken. Yeah, and Alec, you just got to determine what the people in your area are willing to pay for. Brisket Daddy Barbecue, when you wrap your brisket, are you laying down tallow or are you buying Wagyu tallow? No, so when I trim all my briskets, it goes into a stock pot and it goes on the stove. And that tallow gets rendered, or that beef fat gets rendered into tallow. So I think it's really cool that all the tallow that I use is actually the fat from the actual cow, from the actual brisket that it came from. Not something that's store-bought that I have no idea how it was made or anything like that. So the tallow that goes on my briskets comes from those exact briskets. And so, yes, I'm laying the tallow on the wrap, on the foil or the butcher paper. Then I'm placing the brisket on top. And then I might use a spray bottle or like a little squeeze bottle and do a little bit on top of the brisket. You got to be careful. You don't want any of that tallow to pool on the brisket because it might destroy your bark. So a light glaze over the top and then it gets wrapped. That's how I do mine. Good question. Good question. And if you're already trimming your briskets, I mean, use that tallow, render that tallow down because number one, the quality of it I think is going to be better because it's fresh from that actual cow. And then also, it's less of an expense because you don't have to go to the store and buy expensive tallow in a bottle. And you don't have to have a restaurant or anything fancy to make your own tallow. You just need a stove. There's plenty of times before I had the restaurant that I made the tallow in my kitchen. Now, will your kitchen and your house smell like beef tallow for a little bit, for a couple hours? Yeah, it will. But, it is what it is. What else you guys got? What other questions you got? What else y'all want to talk about? I'm going to be up early tomorrow. I'm going to try to get to the restaurant. Ooh, I'm going to try to get to the restaurant about 6 o'clock and get a good head start on the prep day for Friday. But we'll see. We'll see. I have to get in bed pretty soon, in the next 2 hours probably, if I'm going to make it there by 6, being honest. I can't stand waking up early, but I do it for the love of the brisket, So earlier, I always tell people, earlier, a lot of people talk about, oh, well, how do you do your overnight cooks? I don't do overnight cooks, guys. I try to get my briskets on as early in the morning as possible. That way I can get them done and get out. I'm not into the overnight cooks. It just, if I have to cook a brisket overnight, I'm toast the next day. It's just not a fun experience. It was the first couple times I did overnight cooks. I thought it was cool. Had a couple beers, things like that. But shoot, man, that next day I'm just toast. How's DoorDash going for you? Slow but steady, slow but steady. It's getting there. We had a $100 DoorDash order last weekend, which was cool. But that was it. That was the only DoorDash order we had last weekend. But it'll pick up. It will pick up. One thing that is interesting that I haven't talked about is I'm thinking about increasing my prices a little bit because you can increase your prices a little bit without the average customer really knowing. Without it being a huge difference for the customer, but it'll make a huge difference in your profit margin. And so I'm thinking about increasing because when I first started doing pop-ups, Once I got my brisket to a point where I thought it was as good as the top barbecue restaurants, uh, I went from charging $30 a pound to charging $34 a pound. And people were buying it without even blinking. Nobody was complaining. Nobody thought it was expensive. They were just buying it. It wasn't a big deal. And then when I got into the restaurant space and I started doing pop-ups outside the restaurant, I redid my whole menu and I redid the pricing and I made it a little bit more affordable because I thought the market was slightly different. And I went down to $30 a pound for brisket, and it's been selling like hotcakes. It's been fine, but I'm thinking about going back to 34, just because I think it's worth it, and it would do wonders for my profit margin. And I don't think it's really going to hurt people's pockets that much going from 30 to 34 because there's not a lot of barbecue restaurants in my area and like in my city of New Caney. There's really like one other barbecue restaurant, made two other barbecue restaurants, and they're not as good. My brisket's much better, so I feel like I can charge a little bit more for it. So I'm thinking about adjusting some of those prices and like ribs, right? So ribs right now I charge $28 a pound. Okay, I'm thinking about moving that to $30 a pound because a lot of the top places are charging. Let's see, should be back. You guys let me know if I'm back. Okay, we should be back. I think it's rolling. But I'm thinking about moving the ribs from $28 a pound to $30 a pound because the way I saw it was like, okay, if you're buying a whole pound, you're going from 28 to 30. That's not like a huge difference. If you're buying half a pound, it was $14. Now it's $15, right? If my math is right. Yeah. So like I don't if somebody's buying a half a pound, they're not going to decide not to buy it because it went from 14 to $15. But for me, that's going to do much better profit margin wise. So, and the price of meats change. You guys can't have a set price forever. You're going to have to adjust it because I see some of these places like Franklin, like his prices fluctuate. His prices fluctuate on his brisket depending on the cost, what he's getting it for. And so I don't see why mine shouldn't either. Brisket Daddy Barbecue said, I'm doing it for $20 for half a pound and 36 for a whole pound. Okay, okay. So you're kind of charging a premium for the lower amount of, the smaller order, you're kind of charging a $2 premium on that rather than doing 18, which would be half. That's interesting. That's interesting. I try to keep it simple for my cashiers. You know, just tell them, hey, it's $30 a pound. So half of 30 is 15, right? Half of 15 is $7.50. What is the average weight of your brisket before you trim? Between 11 and 15, 16 pounds. Between 11 and 16 pounds, typically. Buying the pound at 36, a pound with no problem. Okay, people are buying it. And you're in California. I think you're near the Los Angeles area, if I'm not mistaken. So people are used to shit being really expensive. People are used to being really expensive. There's some people in this area charging $36 a pound. Bar A right now is charging $36 a pound for their brisket. So I think I could, but I think I'm gonna push it to 34 for now. I'm gonna push the brisket to 34, the ribs to 30, the turkey I'm gonna push to. I might keep the turkey at 28. Ended up selling sausage links for $5 a link because sausage honestly is just cheap for me. Usually I do 2 pork butts, and that's $30 worth of pork that I do for a weekend, and it ends up being about 20 pounds of sausage. About 20 pounds of sausage. I sell them for $5 a link. So, it's sausage is pretty profitable for me, and I don't really think I need to go up on the sausage price, but certainly the brisket and the ribs. Probably keep the turkey the same. Probably keep the sausage the same. Brian's no 2B barbecue said you have to change the price. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think there's a demand for it, and I think I can get a little bit more. Brian said, "How much are you buying your brisket for?" $4.19 a pound is what I buy my brisket for right now. It's $4.19 a pound. But what I always tell people, I have a video on the channel you guys need to check out if you haven't, on how to price your barbecue to sell. Go check out that video because there's a lot of information on there. Because the average person might say, okay, you're paying $4.19 a pound, but you're charging 34. Wow, that's a huge profit margin. But what you're not taking into consideration is how much brisket you're losing from trimming and smoking it. Because you're going to trim probably a couple pounds off of the brisket when you trim it, and then on top of that, when you smoke it, it's going to lose probably, I don't know, you guys put in the chat, probably 30%. 30% is lost when you're smoking it because of the moisture leaving the brisket. So you're not actually making a $30 profit per pound. You know, it's less than that because of the trimming and the smoking. You ever thought about getting a drum smoker? No, because a drum smoker is a bottom up cooker, and um, it might be fine if you're doing it in the backyard and you're cooking stuff like burgers or chicken wings, chicken legs, stuff like that. That's cool. That's no problem. They turn out really well. But you cooking a brisket in a drum smoker is a battle because it's bottom up cooking, and you're going to burn the bottom of that brisket if you're cooking it at too high of a temperature. So I don't think they're the best for smoking meats for a long period of time. Hell yeah, those are really good prices, to be honest with you. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. But we're gonna jack them up a little bit, you know, kind of get our money's worth. We need to make a little bit more profit. Something I'll probably do a video on, and there's 15 of y'all in here, so I don't mind saying it. But I'm probably going to do a video on doing a P&L for your barbecue business, profit and loss statement, because it's important that you track everything. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be selling barbecue, buying all this stuff, and then you think you're doing really good, and once you get into the numbers, you realize that you're losing a bunch of money or you're breaking even. And if you're building a brand and a business and you're going to open a restaurant and stuff like that, and you're breaking even for your first couple months, that's not really a huge deal. But if you're just losing tons of money and there's, you know, it may not make sense to do what you're doing. You may have to adjust your prices. You may have to adjust your business model, things like that. So I may do a video on doing a P&L, profit and loss statement for your barbecue business. So you need to be tracking not only your sales, but your equipment costs, your food costs, your paper and plastics, your labor, your rent, if you're paying rent somewhere, your booking fees, if you have to pay every time you go out to a site to do your pop-ups, the insurances you're paying for, your wood cost, all of that stuff, your kitchen equipment. You need to be tracking all of that stuff so you can really figure out how profitable or not profitable your barbecue business is. And like I said, you know, depending on the volume you're doing and depending on the frequency and all that good stuff is really going to depend on how profitable you are. Doing pop-ups, I think it's after you've bought all your initial equipment, it should be pretty easy to be profitable doing pop-ups. Once you get into a food truck, once you get into a restaurant space, once you're paying rent, that kind of stuff, you're going to need much higher volume of sales to make profits. And your first couple months, you're probably not going to be very profitable. You're probably going to be dumping all of your profits that you do make back into the business, which is normal. You know, we make profit every weekend, but that profit's being dumped back into paying for more equipment, paying for build out of the smoke shack, paying for the new smoker, paying for rent, so on and so forth. So, and you know, you sell a bunch of food and your fridge is empty at the end of the weekend. You got to restock that fridge for the next weekend. So P&L is important. Let's see, I'm behind. Let me catch up, guys. I'm behind. Matthew Wong said, what's your favorite barbecue spot in Texas? Currently, right now, my favorite barbecue spot would be Franklin. I really enjoyed my experience there. It was fantastic. I did wait in the line for probably 4 hours, but I got to meet some really cool people while I was in line, and it was a great experience. Food was fantastic. Other spot that I would recommend was Barb's BQ in Lockhart. That was a really good experience. The food was good. I will say the brisket was. I like a salty brisket. If you come and try my brisket, it's very flavorful, very salty, but not overly salty, just right. Her brisket, at least that day, was very, very salty. And I don't know if it was just because it was a super sunny day, super hot outside. I was working, I was volunteering there in Lockhart at the barbecue fest. But the brisket was a little salty, but it was very good. The ribs definitely had a different flavor than I'm used to, but they were good. The turkey was all right. I think my turkey's better. Best turkey in Texas is at Kirby's Barbecue. Um, Sausage, I can't even, to be honest, I don't remember what the sausage tastes like. I don't know if I got sausage. But, guys, if you go to barbecue, you have to get the green spaghetti. Green spaghetti was fire flames. I think that was probably the best side item that I've ever had at a barbecue restaurant. It's fantastic. Alex said, "Oh, definitely, I would never cook a brisket, just the pork butts, ribs, and chicken." He's talking about on the drum smoker. It gives that char. I was just asking something to help me out. Yeah, absolutely. They're not bad. Drum smokers can produce a good product, but I wouldn't cook a brisket on it. 2B Barbecue, how do you buy your brisket by the case? If so, do you buy your brisket by the case? And if so, how many comes in a case? It's going to depend on exactly what brisket you're getting and from what supplier, because and the size of them. It varies. It varies. You just have to kind of figure out what you want. But as far as mine go, I buy cases of 5 briskets, and they say they're an average of 11 pounds. But some of them are smaller than that, some of them are bigger. It's just 5 briskets, average of 11 pounds, which can be frustrating sometimes because you can get a case where the briskets are much bigger than 11 pounds. So that means your cost ends up being a lot more, but it is what it is. How big a smoker are you using for your restaurant? So right now, Mr. Hernandez, I'm using an Old Country Pecos offset smoker as well as an Old Country vertical smoker. And I've got a 250-gallon offset smoker with a fully insulated firebox from PRM Barbecue Co. being built at the moment. That should be done by the time our grand opening comes. And that's what I'm rocking with right now. TJ said that would be a great video, talking about the P&Ls. Yep, we're going to do that. Brisket Daddy Barbecue said labor costs. I'm hiring some kids from the church and paying a few of them $10 an hour, giving one of them $15 an hour, but as I start growing to pay adults, what have you been finding as a good rate? So here's my philosophy on paying people, all right? My philosophy is find some really good people. I'd rather have less people, but they're really good at what they do. They've got great customer service. They're super reliable. You can call them in at a moment's notice, and they're going to be there. I'd rather pay them well than have a bunch of people on staff. So here's the way I look at it. I plan on paying people $15 an hour, okay? Whereas most places would probably pay $10 and $12 an hour. I'm going to pay $15, but I'm going to hire less people, which means they're going to have more responsibilities, and they're going to be expected to be able to be flexible. If we have a super busy Friday and we need extra help on Saturday, I expect them to be able to come in and help a little bit early. Stuff like that. So that's kind of my take on it. That's kind of and plus, when you're paying somebody $10 an hour, they're going to jump from job to job to job because somebody will offer them $10.50 and they'll leave. You pay somebody $10 an hour, someone will offer them $10.50 or 11, and then they're gone. And you really don't want a bunch of turnover because you end up what you're saving in money, you lose in time, having to post an ad to hire more people, interview them, train them, so on and so forth. So if you just pay somebody appropriately and you keep them for a long time, you actually end up saving money in the form of time. So yeah. Mike, other than tallow, do you add anything to the brisket when you wrap, like brown sugar, more salt and pepper, things like that? Absolutely not. No, sir, I do not. I don't add anything besides tallow when I wrap it up and put it in the warmer. The Fat Man Barbecue, good evening. You are late, man. You're super late. We've been on here over an hour, almost an hour and a half. But it's all good, man. I did answer your question, though. Let me see. I did. What was your question, man? Let me go back. Let me go back. Fat Man Barbecue. What was your question? I'm sure you'll go back and watch the stream, hopefully, but I'll answer it again. You said barbecue menu for meats, sides, and desserts. So basically, I said the Fat Man Barbecue. I said, you want to get your basic meats that you're going to sell. Usually here in Texas, we do the Texas Trinity, brisket, ribs, sausage. You got to have those. I cook turkey as well. Most barbecue restaurants around here cook turkey as well. But definitely brisket, ribs, and sausage. And then you can expand from there if you want to. So if you want to do pork belly burnt ends, knock yourself out. If you have the time and the smoker space and all that, and the customers to be able to do it. If you want to do chicken quarters, stuff like that, knock yourself out. But you want to make sure you start with the basics, brisket, ribs, sausage. Sides and desserts. Sides, you get your staple sides that you're going to do every weekend. Your slaw, your beans, maybe potato salad. I like doing mac and cheese because kids eat mac and cheese and people got kids and they got to feed them, right? And then you can kind of expand on that as you want to. So if you want to get out of the box, do some other stuff. Like I do, sometimes I'll do barbecue green beans. I'll do sweet potato mash. You've got a elote casserole. You can kind of get wild with that stuff. Bar A Barbecue in Montgomery, they have a really good brisket jambalaya rice, which is great. So get creative. Desserts, go wild. Do whatever you want. Pies, cobblers, cookies. It don't really matter. As long as you have a dessert, people will buy it. So yeah, that was your answer. Like 60 seconds. Alex said, thank you for everything you said. Got to go. Go ahead. Got to get up. Go to our work in a few hours. All right, Alex. See you later, man. Thanks for tuning in. Fat Man Barbecue. Thank you, my friend. You got it. You got it. What other questions you guys got for me this evening? What else can I kind of answer for you? I got to get up early as well. Put some briskets on the smoker for Friday. But I'll hang out a little bit longer. Still got a little bit on the life on the cigar. But just to reiterate, we are at our New Caney location out of our pop-up selling. Friday, Saturday, Sundays from 11 to sold out, or 5 p.m., whichever one comes sooner. And then we're planning our grand opening for a dine-in and everything. We'll have a DJ, balloons. We'll make a big deal out of it. I'm thinking about doing May 23rd through the 25th, that weekend. It's about 50 days from now. I'm thinking that's when our actual grand opening is going to be. We may actually get everything done and ready to open sooner and probably have people being able to sit in for dine-in sooner. If we can, we will. But that will probably be the date that I market for the grand opening for all the festivities and all that good stuff. That's the plan. JM said it will come fast. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of stuff to do between now and then, but I think you're right. I think it will come fast. Do I have any cigar smokers in the room? If so, what do y'all like? What's y'all's favorite? For me, I like Perdomo. I like Perdomo cigars. I like Rocky Patel cigars. Those are probably my two top favorite cigars. And then I like Gurkha. Gurkha cigars are pretty good as well. We got some good ones. JM says, have a pellet grill for now. When I grow up, it will be an offset. There you go. There you go. Yeah, get you an offset, man. Get you an offset. Are you near the freeway? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. We're on 494 and 1485. Near, I guess you're kind of near 99 and 59. Yeah, yeah. Yep. You got a big old parking lot. Well, let me correct that. It's not a big parking lot. It's a pretty small parking lot, but it's right off of a main road, like a county road that used to be the highway in that side of town. So there is it's a pretty big dirt road-ish. So big trucks can fit in there if it's not packed. The Fat Man Barbecue, hey, do me a favor. I'm in a cooking contest and I need your votes. Okay. Where can they go to vote for you? Where can they go to vote for you? Let the people know. Let the people know. Also, guys, hit me up on Instagram. Leave me a follow on Instagram and shoot me a DM. Let me know what topics you guys want me to do videos on for the next couple weeks. That would be really helpful because sometimes these video ideas they come to me pretty easily, and then other times I'm just kind of stumped on what you guys would like to see. So shoot me a DM or leave a comment. Do something. Let me know what topics you guys want me to talk about. That way I'm making videos on stuff y'all want to know about. J. Walker Brisket Company, LLC. Will you have an indoor smoker as well? No, sir. I will not. I will not. So, like I mentioned earlier, I've got an Old Country Pecos offset, and then I have a Old Country vertical smoker, and then I have ordered 250-gallon offset. Both of those will be in the smoke shack that we're building. So I guess technically it's inside. It's in a building, but it's a separate building from the actual restaurant. I did see. I can't remember the name of the barbecue place, but the guy, someone will put in the comments. His offset is inside like a big commercial kitchen. He's got these ginormous hood vents. It's like a 1,000-gallon pit. It's all painted. It's pretty sick. It's pretty cool. But no, I like the outdoors. I like the outdoors. I like the elements. Fat Man Barbecue. I don't know if you can send links in the live, man. I don't. You could try it. It says I just see your comment says here's the link. I don't know if you can actually put links in the live stream, but if you tell us kind of where to go, like the website, we can find it. Yeah, no indoor smoker unless you consider the separate smoke shack, which technically is a building, but it's going to be pretty much a wood building with mesh on the top around it, kind of the top, I don't know, 2 feet around it, and then smokestack will go out the roof. We'll probably put some ventilation fans in there, stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. Four Queens Barbecue, what's good, brother? Thanks for answering my question. I got on late, but was able to watch the beginning. Appreciate you. You got it. You got it. Thank you for being a member of the channel. JM, what's a good offset smoker to start on? I would say the Old Country Pecos offset would be a really good. That's what I'm using right now. And they've got the Old Country Brazos. Get the Old Country Pecos. Get the Old Country Pecos. Don't pay something crazy for it. If you go to academy.com, I'm looking it up right now. Let's see if they have them on the website right now. Let's see. What in the world? It's being weird. The Old Country Pecos offset is a great starter smoker. That's what I started on. That's what I'm still using right now until the 250 comes in. And it's a good smoker. It's got a lot of space. It works well. I think I paid $600 for it. Okay, if you go to academysportsandoutdoors.com, it's on here for $500. So I paid $500 for it. It's a good starter offset smoker. Cooks really well. Nothing too fancy, but it works. It's only about 225 pounds, and it's got wheels on it, so you can move it around. That's what I would go with. That's what I would go with. Vic's Cooler Chicken Barbecue. What's up, folks? What's up with you, Vic's? Four Queens. I'm Raul. Oh, okay. What's up, Raul? TJ said, have you thought about doing a POV video when working the pop-up? Yeah, I've thought about filming while I'm live doing the pop-up. And I may do it. I get busy while I'm doing it, and I like to stay focused. And, sometimes there is some downtime. Like, it's not always a consistent flow of business. So it's kind of hard to know when to turn the camera on. I guess I could film a video and just kind of do a lot of editing, because, sometimes I'll be sitting down, just relaxing, having a beverage in the downtime, and there's not really anything to film, And then other times there'll be a bunch of people in line, and I'll be super busy, and the last thing I'm thinking about when I see a bunch of cars pull up is turn on the camera. So we'll see. I'll see what I can do. Are you live every Wednesday evening? I try to be. Because Thursday really starts my prep for the weekend. Sometimes I'll start prepping on Wednesday, but a lot of times I'll start prepping Thursday, and so I try to go live on either Wednesday night or Sunday night. So usually it's Wednesday before the madness starts, or it's Sunday night after we're done for the weekend. So it just depends. So sometimes Wednesdays, sometimes Sundays. I have to get up early morning. Thank you for the info. You got it, 2B Barbecue. Thanks for stopping in. But I'm about the same, guys. I got to put some briskets on the smoker tomorrow morning. So I'm going to shut the live down here. And I hope everybody enjoyed. I hope everyone has a great week and a great weekend. If you're in the Houston area or are willing to travel, come check us out. We will be at the restaurant location, Kirby's Barbecue, New Caney, Texas. Look us up, kirbysbarbecue.com, Kirby's Barbecue on Instagram, Kirby's Barbecue on Apple Maps, Google Maps in New Caney, Texas. Okay, we will be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 11 a.m. Come get you some brisket, ribs, turkey, sausage, coleslaw, baked beans. We're doing it all. I'd love to see you guys. If you do stop by, make sure you introduce yourself. Don't be shy. And let me know that you came from the YouTube channel. And we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you some good food. And we'll have a good time. So I will see you guys later. And have a good night. Thanks.